everyone, MortonG here, and in this video, let's discuss the big reveals from iRacing's new development update just ahead of Season 4. First, Greg Hill, the Senior VP and Executive Producer at iRacing, mentions that even though iRacing brand has expanded recently to other properties, these teams are staffed separately, but with the added bonus of being able to exchange tech, audio, graphics, shaders, and art assets. Basically just reassuring the community that a rising tide lifts all ships, so to speak. Next, while on the topic of staffing, he mentions 1. Bringing in a network veteran to accelerate the pace of improvements in principal level multiplayer and netcode systems. 2, an AI veteran to reinforce and bring new ideas and experiences to the AI behavior capabilities. And thirdly, a software engineering hire that, in quotes, strategically, we have him slated to begin his contributions on projects related to the system we call race control, which controls how races are controlled and rules are enforced. We are excited to expand on these core systems and improve and expand things like cautions, race starts, etc. Now, this one I find exceptionally intriguing, as I'm always harping on improving the yellow flag situations, especially on the road side of things, and how incidents are dished out. So hopefully this is a sign of the winds pointing in that direction. Fingers crossed. And finally, on the staffing front, the graphics team is being bolstered further with a leading undisclosed name from one of the 2 big game industry graphics engine companies. So that's interesting. All right, now for the specifics of what's likely to come in Season 4. First, Greg mentions Caldwell Park, a track located in Lincolnshire, England, with 4 configurations. Interestingly, they're debuting a new art feature called Broad Maps, which uses drone data. This technique should improve the realism look of the map. They go on to mention that this course will cater more to lower powered open wheel and sports touring cars. Also, they note that 2 additional UK tracks, Thruxton and Croft, are coming soon. Next, they talk about Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps update, which is nearly done with a complete rebuild of the course to current look and spec. However, it is still at a 50-50 chance of being part of the Season 4 update, as they want to ensure the most recent resurfacing is correctly modeled before release. The new track will be free to those that already own Spa and added into a package giving owners the option of using either the historic or new version. So those that are fans of Spa Historic can still have access to it, and then new people purchasing it will also have access to the historic version as well as the new. All right, now to the new cars coming in Season 4. The current BMW M4 GT4, which is based on the 2018 F82 variant of the car, will be replaced with a newer G82 variant, dubbed the BMW M4 GT4 Evo, which in my brief research began production in 2020. And they go on to say that this model is physically, visually, and drives quite differently than the F82. Now, as for pricing, for those that bought the current BMW GT4 within the last year, credits will be given based on how recent the purchase was made. Also, with its entry onto the roster, the BMW M Power Tour, which currently switches between BMW car types each week, will be turned into a single make series running the new GT4 Evo at the D level. Next is the McLaren 720S GT3 Evo, which I noted in a breaking news video just a few days ago. So go check that out for more in-depth detail on the new McLaren. And finally, for oval folks, the mini stock is coming with both pavement and dirt variants. It's noted as being fairly nimble and approachable to drive for an oval car, and will be positioned at the rookie level, and most importantly, it'll be free for all people who subscribe to iRacing. Next, Greg moves on to talk about some improvements and bug fixes coming. First, spotty rain as an option in timeline mode will be introduced to make the start of rainfall more of an approximation and a bit more unpredictable during setup. And secondly, kind of a big one here, is qualifying will now be visible to everyone. You still will run your quali solo, but competitors can now see everyone else's qualifying from the replay screen. This is noteworthy due to some past issues in competitions and big endurance race events where questionable qualifying tactics were being used. Thus, this should help with accountability in future events and even in leagues. Next, he mentions a dirt enhancement is in the works to improve track transitions, but it is to be determined if it will be ready for Season 4. An instant AI feature to easily test weekly car track combos will be implemented, and a 2-factor authentication option for account security will be implemented as well. And finally, in this section, the biggest announcement in my eyes is an enhanced multiplayer manufacturer and multi-class splitting algorithm will be tested during week 13. Greg notes that yes, iRating is a big part of the secret sauce used to develop race splits. However, in multi-manufacturer races, they want to see more diversity in the racing field as the community tends to develop a narrative, especially for the special events, where one manufacturer has an advantage over the other. This results in an overabundance in just one car type, which you would never see in a real competition. This also applies to multi-class with the ratios of LMP2s to GT3s and LMDHs. Now, iRacing claims their balance of performance is done with great care, and it shouldn't be this way when it comes to those community-driven narratives. Now, this is pretty huge if you ask me, as someone who used to make weekly videos on balance of performance between all the cars in these series, where yes, generally the BOP is done pretty well, I would admit, but it isn't always perfect, especially when open setups are involved. But it's really wait to see how this system actually works. Anyhow, they are encouraging everyone to participate to gather data during this coming week 13, awarding the seldom available iTested award to those that participate. Now finally, for a few things further down the pipe. Greg goes on to mention that the Rain team has transitioned to several projects related to tire modeling and force feedback. The former working on tire contact patch models, which will create a foundation for significant improvement to how the car interfaces with the track, hopefully addressing many of the common complaints they are seeing and hearing. Then on the latter, they just got a prototype of a force feedback calibration process running, better allow iRacers to get their various hardware setups in an optimal configuration for the sim. Furthermore, the previously mentioned graphics engine update is progressing well. A new sim UI is in the works to reduce dependency on third-party apps, and more track updates are incoming. And they followed that up with an example of Circuit Zolder being worked on. And they also mentioned they will be revisiting the entire NASCAR library too. Then while on the topic of tracks, Greg goes on to mention more future track hints. Of course, there's Croft and Thruxton, as I mentioned. He also shows a picture of the Scan team at the Bend, which is an Aussie track with a 4.8 and a 7.7 kilometer GT configuration. And sounds pretty exciting, actually. And he also mentions Valencia. Then he goes on to mention they are in deep discussions with a US-based venue that is raced in F1. So Vegas or Miami, perhaps? Then he also goes on to mention Huset Speedway and more dirt road content being actively developed. And finally, in the same regard to cars, he mentions multiple new GT3 cars are into planning and development. The new supercars just missed S4 deployment, so likely coming sooner rather than later. A Legends car physics model is being overhauled. Then for NASCAR, the Gen 4 car is coming soon, and they are revisiting ARCA. And last but not least, new dirt road cars are in the works. So there's a quick summary of this latest development update from iRacing, folks. So let's have a discussion about it, folks. Let me know in the comments down below which of these items you're most excited for and intrigued by. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe for future iRacing content right here on this channel. And until next time, go check out one of my most recent videos up here in the corner. And as always, drive safe out there.